Welcome, everybody, to the weekly Dana White's Contender Series preview. This week we have episode 5, a bunch of really fun fights on this card. We're just going to go into each fight, let you guys know which fights present value on PredictionStrike, which fights present value in markets outside of PredictionStrike, and just generally which fights to watch. So, should be fun.
Right on. All right. So you got the man in the middle as always. All right. Is this like a YouTuber or like what is this guy? Like he just looks like a normal person. I'm not gonna lie. Like he's just like
Philip
I'm here
Latte.
for a challenge.
He looks like a guy on one of those podcasts that would be like, name 5 countries outside of the United States.
Yeah, no, literally.
Like a mall TikToker.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, what's the smell of this perfume?
What's your body count?
All right. God. All right. So we got Corinne Lafrembres versus Nicole Cagliari. How are we expecting this fight to go down? What's going to happen here?
So we've got Corinne coming in at $2.50. She's fighting out of BTT Canada. 8 wins, 4 losses. 6 of those wins coming by finish. Nicole Cagliari fighting out of Thai, Brazil. 7 wins, 2 losses. 7 of those wins coming by KO. So Cagliari a finisher, and these prices reflect most markets, I would say. I think it's pretty much pick 'em odds no matter where you go for this, and this is just about that. And this one should be a grappling heavy matchup here. Corinne's the favorite in most markets. She's a really good grappler. Striking definitely leaves something to be desired, but grappling, obviously, as you can see from her record, gets it done most of the time. Her striking defense is bad, mainly because she just doesn't move her head at all. I think that's probably the worst part of her striking is the defensive end of it. Cagliari is probably a better striker than I would say Corinne is. I don't really think she's like liable to land a huge shot, though. She's more of a volume striker. Corinne, I do worry about her takedowns. She definitely doesn't shoot straight all of the time, gets most of her takedowns from inside the clinch, using her size to work opponents down to the ground. She uses her size to bully her opponents in almost all of her wins. Like, that's how she gets her wins. It leaves her open, for her opponents to reverse positions on her sometimes. Cagliari, she fought for Face the Danger. I think she fought an 0-3 girl last, so not the craziest strength of schedule for her. Kay Hansen was a pretty strong opponent of hers who was actually in the UFC at one point. She got dominated on the ground in that fight, but she definitely looked decent in the striking exchanges. I think she's going to come into this fight smaller. Well, she is going to come into this fight smaller than Corinne. That size advantage should help her. Corinne, that is, utilize the grappling game plan that we know she's going to at least attempt to go with. My only concern with her here is that she hasn't fought in 2.5 years. She was supposed to fight on Contender Series last year, but found out she was pregnant during the pre-fight medicals. Had a baby.
That's how she found out?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, isn't that nuts? So that's like a bit of a red flag, obviously, but ultimately she's got the size and grappling. I don't see this one standing up for too long, so I'm leaning Corinne. But
wait, she's currently pregnant?
No, this was during season 7. It's like a long time ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one's lower confidence for me, but I do think Corinne should be able to get it done, and I think it's going to be a decision. I mean, for women's MMA fights too, I don't think it really needs to go or to be like an inside the distance finish for one of them to get a contract. So I could still see a contract coming out of this either way too.
Right. All right. Moving on. Next one, we got Elias Mufasa versus Otari Tedzaluvi.
I like Otari here. He just feels like kind of a dog. This fight feels like it definitely will not go the distance, just based on the environment as well, being in the Contender Series, trying to make a show for Dana and the other viewers of this event. a ton of knockouts in his career. His last fight did go to decision, but before that, plenty of knockouts with a variety of ways. Some flying switch kicks, some body punches, some back kicks, some just regular punches to the head, but definitely a guy that can chase down a finish, and I feel like that fits perfectly in an environment like this. I also just can't trust a guy whose nickname is the Knockout Wizard. That just feels a little
The
crazy
knockout
for
wizard.
Josias.
Let me use my wizardry on you.
Josias, the Knockout Wizard.
Dude, I mean, look at his record,
obviously
bro. He is a knockout.
He is
wizard.
kind of a knockout
He
wizard.
is. He has 4 TKOs, which is crazy, and then
Yeah.
only 2 actual knockouts, which is, I guess, 3. But just a weird career so far. Both young guys with potential. I feel like this fight should be exciting. It could totally go either way. Both guys could walk into something and then have to keep grinding up the ranks and getting a little more skilled. But this fight feels like it's gonna be super fun. I'm excited for it. I would lean Otari though, just for a variety
I agree with you
of
on that.
ways to get that finish.
I like that. I think I definitely agree with you that this is going to be a shorter one. I like for round betting, like I feel like the under 1.5 is low key safe with this one. Both of these guys are going to come out super hot, especially in a contender series environment.
Mhm.
And yeah, the KO Wizard, he is definitely a killer. His name describes him pretty well. Insanely powerful, one punch finisher. We've seen him knock people out with one punch like multiple times. Like Grant said, a lot of TKOs too, but still, like we've seen that one punch power from him. He is quite one-dimensional though. Just a boxer, pretty much relies on his power, isn't technical at all. His main game plan is just coming forward, landing massive bombs. Definitely worry about his versatility, like Grant said, against a guy like Otari. Yeah, this is going to be standing up. I think it's going to end early. I think it's going to be Otari here. He's just more versatile. He's used to being able to keep people at range with that long reach he has, and he is going to be longer here than Musasa. So yeah, I like Otari by finish within the first 2 rounds. Someone's getting slept for sure here, though.
True. Let's hear it. Other news: Jamari Thrash Stonks are somewhat alive. By the way, guys, it was only the practice squad Tony was signed to. Only the practice squad.
They said they're like working him back or something, but yeah,
makes sense with the kid. But quality of competition. What would you rate it for the Wizards though, Jackson? I have to I might have not paid as much to quality.
The Wizard.
The Wizard.
Yeah, no, it hasn't been anything crazy.
Okay.
I don't think for either of them really. They've
Yeah.
both fought guys local around their countries in different fighting leagues and stuff. So I mean, it's not like a crazy level of competition difference between the two. I just kind of trust the ability to land kicks and other ways of doing damage for Otari, whereas Josias feels like he's a little more just straight boxing, which I mean could obviously pan out well for him here. I just have to take the more versatile option, I feel like.
Makes sense.
Tanzalov actually did fight against Abdulayev, who's like a good wrestler, but he was kind of getting ragdolled in the first few rounds.
Sounds like a stand-up fight more than anything.
This one will for sure, yeah.
I will admit, when I first scrolled onto this, I thought like he genuinely was like just really skinny in the arms, and I was like, what the hell? Like, do not take this guy. Like, I thought he was missing like half of his arm here. I was like, Jesus Christ. Like, don't take this guy. I don't think he's gonna get rocked. All right. Taiga Iwasaki versus Yusri Belgarui. Okay.
Yep.
I'm just offended a lot of people somehow. How are we gonna go through this fight? What we should be expecting here? Yeah. Seems like some pretty cheap fighters, so probably not the highest level of intrigue between them, it seems like.
So actually, Yusri is one of our 2 fighters on the card who has defeated Alex Pereira. It wasn't, however, in MMA. It was in kickboxing ahead of Alex Pereira's MMA career. And he's going up against Taiga Iwasaki, the Karate Tiger. And this is, I think, going to be another straight.
Tiger versus Panther. Sorry.
That's
60% of the time works every time.
Babyface assassin too. He clearly has a beard.
Yeah,
That's the facial hair going.
He's a pretty old looking dude, yeah.
Yeah.
He
You
looks
can't-
like
You're
the villain in
32,
a
man.
Bond
Give
movie.
it up.
He's like, I'm the bodyguard in a Bond villain. That's what I do.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry.
I
So-
just think the height and reach advantage here is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, he has been a little inconsistent in his MMA career. He obviously had that huge peak in kickboxing, but he's definitely been a little up and down. He's currently minus 1,300, which feels a little steep. I just don't know if you can fully trust him to put together like a complete performance, but I feel like he's going to be able to keep his distance. I'd probably have him by decision if I had to pick a method. I would probably just stay away from this on any consensus format, though, just because those odds feel a little insane.
Yeah. Yeah. Minus 1,300 is absolutely nuts.
Sounds like a
Tyga-
steal on Prediction Strike, though.
Yeah, definitely a steal on Prediction Strike. Like, great price to buy in here. Tyga, he most recently fought against Rafael Lovato, and he was getting ragdolled by him. Or this might not have been his most recent fight. Wait, when did he fight Rafael Lovato?
Who, Tyga?
Yeah.
December 28th, 2022.
Yeah. So I think that's just a good case study for Tygo because he was getting ragdolled by him. Lovato got the sub after a couple takedowns. Then after that fight, Tyga went on to, and so Tyga ahead of that, like before he got subbed by Lovato, he was pretty much purely a striker, didn't wrestle at all. Then in his next fight against Yoon-Sung Kim, he wrestled the entire fight, which was crazy to see. He basically just like switched up his entire like fighting method for a single fight. And the offensive wrestling didn't really look good in that matchup. Yusri had a bad Contender Series matchup last year. He was sick when he went up against Marco Tulio. That's the reason they didn't give Marco Tulio the contract last year, because Dana was like, Yusri was not, at his full level. And he's coming down to 185 to fight against Tyga, which is really interesting because he's been fighting at 205 recently. And he's a huge dude, like 6'5", fighting at 185. Like, and
Yeah.
he doesn't even look like a stick or anything. Like, it's crazy. But yeah, he's former Glory kickboxer, has fought both Adesanya and Pereira, beat Pereira. He uses height and reach super well to manage range, but kind of keeps his hands down when he's striking, which is kind of interesting, which opens himself up to be hit. Pretty low volume, isn't always throwing with intent, but I do think he gets it done here. I think he'll be good enough on the feet to stay safe from Iwasaki's power. Ultimately, it'll be a really tough matchup for Tyga here. Pretty high confidence in Yusri.
Right on. All right. We'll see how it goes. If the Tiger gets mauled, we'll see what happens. All right. Kumail Otani versus Cody Steele, the Man of Steel versus Otani. What are we going to have happen here? Is Otani's agent going to come in and say that he was sports betting too? Find out on this version of DWCS. What's going to happen here, guys?
The second Otani. I didn't even realize that. That's funny. But so Kamel is our little pride and joy here, the man who beat Alex Pereira in MMA, the first man to ever beat Pereira in MMA. And he's coming in as the underdog in most markets, an underdog here against Cody Steele, who's a wrestler fighting out of Checkmate BJJ. And I think this is going to be a really fun fight. Could be grappling, could be standing up. I think it'll probably be a mix of both ultimately. And Kamel is an experienced guy. He's more of a Muay Thai guy, very skilled grappler, obviously. He was able to sub Alex Pereira. He had some mixed success fighting in the regional scene, has been pretty inactive recently. Not really his fault, though, because he was signed to the PFL, and all of his three most recent PFL fights were canceled on him. So he hasn't fought since 2022. But Muay Thai guy, good grappling, very good kicks. Takedown defense isn't the best, so a path to victory against him is getting in close, taking him down, which is something Cody Steele can definitely do. He's more of a wrestler himself. Otani, quite a few subs on his resume. He loves to stand up, though. If you watch his fights, like, he really wants to be standing up most of the time, but uses grappling really well when he gets put on the mat mostly. In that win over Pereira, he was eating a ton of shots that had, Pereira's power, like insane power behind him. And it just did, like, for me, it showcased more than anything Camel's chin. Like, I think he can eat, like, he eats Pereira shots in that fight better than I see 99% of UFC fighters eating his shots. Like, his chin is insane. So I don't think Cody's going to be able to get to him on the feet, even though his striking is definitely improved. And Cody's a wrestler for the most part. The UFC really likes him. They're giving him this opportunity after he's only had 5 pro fights. He fought Alejandro Martinez last, who's like a nobody pretty much. And that was definitely Cody's best MMA showing so far. Striking, like I said, it looks improved. At least it did against Alejandro. Has more of a wrestling background, though. Takedowns weren't the most successful, but it was good to see him mix it up with the striking. I'm just feeling the Kamel side here. Cody's looked good recently, but does not have a tough strength of competition. I don't know if he's going to get pieced up by a wrestling sort of guy on the feet like Steele, and I know he has the grappling to keep up with him on the ground. So I'm going with the underdog here in Kamel Otoni.
Right on. I think I'll follow you on that one there.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. We got our next one here with our YouTuber versus Navajo Sterling. So Philip Latu. How's he going to surprise us all here? What's happening?
So as
Wait, whoa. What? What's happening with the weight here?
Oh, dude, what is going on here? Dude, Navajo Sterling is not 265. Hold on.
It's probably just the wrong sheet. It's no big deal.
Yeah, wait. Hold up. Let me at least read off the right stuff, though.
His last weigh-in was 206. So he should be good.
Okay. No, but Navajo is wrong, right?
Yeah. No, Navajo's is 206 as well. It just is
cool.
wrong on the site, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I just checked back at the site, too. It's wrong. So Navajo is a striker, and Philip Latu is actually pretty good, by the way. Like, a good guy. I think this is going to be a fun fight. Despite him looking like a YouTuber. Sterling, kickboxer, Muay Thai specialist out of Australia. He's fought some pretty good guys in the past, and he does have, I don't think this is right because I'm pretty sure he does have a decision loss. Yeah, it says 0 losses, but he is a super high volume striker, insane combos, so he has that long reach. Accurate, calm in the pocket, powerful guy, just a great striker, diverse arsenal of striking attacks, powerful spinning attacks. He has all the things. Great chin, and good at finding opportunities when they present themselves or noticing them. Definitely susceptible to fighters who get him on his back foot. He doesn't like to be pressured that much. But I mean, his striking is just so good that he's usually able to break people down that try to pressure him. Definitely can be controlled on the cage and fades into fights a little bit. But overall, just very complete prospect. Phil Latu has kickboxing experience. He is a former heavyweight, so he's lost a lot of weight, obviously, and is fighting against Navajo here. He tends to be pretty low volume at the beginning of fights and then starts picking up the pace later into fights. He has a couple KOs that have come in the latter halves of fights. He does have an early KO, but just kind of caught him there. Big power, all 6 wins coming from knockout, so you know he has that power. And these guys actually do have similar levels of competition. Like nothing crazy. Both of them have just fought against like good veteran journeymen recently and have gotten solid wins. So I would say pretty equal strength and schedule for these guys so far into their careers. Latu gets hit a lot. He's definitely a brawler, but he has this pretty solid chin. Hittable though, and Navajo hits hard. Quick hands. He throws flying knees all the time. You'll see multiple flying knees been thrown by him with relative success too. He's knocked people out with his knees. Elbows are good. And just profile-wise, Sterling is longer here. Latu gets hit pretty often. Has pretty bad clinch and takedown defense. He gets absolutely pounded on when he gets put on his back. His ground game is pretty much non-existent. So I think Sterling might exploit that. He has grappled before. He's definitely more of a striker. I just see him as a complete package here, a really good prospect, and I think he manages the striking here between the two.
Yeah, the wingspan is crazy. He's like 6'4" with a 7-foot wingspan, Navajo.
Yeah.
And I feel like Latu is a guy, based on your analysis, that seems to use his reach to his advantage in this division, and he's not going to have that advantage here, which feels like it could be concerning. Also, just the better prospect going forward. I mean, you have a huge age gap here and a guy that is one of the most highly touted prospects in the Australian region over there. So, I mean, I feel like you have to back Navajo here, especially given the price. A much bigger consensus favorite anywhere else than here, and you can get some shares in early, gets a win. He should be a guy that if he gets a win in any sort of convincing fashion, he'll get a contract, and then you'll be ahead of the game as he starts his UFC career out. So I'm a big fan of that play as well.
Yeah, this is a super fun max buy to like start out Navajo's UFC career.
Agreed.
Yes, sir. All right. Moving forward, I think that's all we have for this one. So, that being said, enjoy this card. And yeah, have some fun. Watch the future of the UFC and hopefully watch their stock continue to soar forward.
Go by Navajo. Go by Camelo Tony.
With that said, appreciate you all. Hope you have a great day. And until next time, peace, y'all.